Welcome once again to our local to global series here on the Random Wrestling Review YouTube channel, which of course is a series where we are playing as the Random Wrestling Review wrestling promotion. And straight off the bat here, some interesting news in terms of the industry. WWF have hired Atlantis. So apparently negotiations concluded last night and an official announcement from the company is expected later today. I've had a look into this. And Atlantis is one of the biggest stars in CMML. So if you look at them and you take their tour of the company, Atlantis is their top star. Reigning, and they've also got Chris Jericho as their reigning NWA middleweight champion, I believe. I can't click on Chris Jericho. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Yeah, Corazzo de Leon, yeah, is Chris Jericho. So they're number 6 in terms of the company wars, but this is actually a big deal. Atlantis signing for WWF is a major signing for them and will be a big problem for CMML. So WWF looking to continue to expand. Both WWF and WCW are doing great business. Actually, just looking at the promotion wars of the world that we're in at the moment, you've got USWA in 3rd, WWC in 4th, CMML in 5th, in fact, not 6th, New Japan down in 6th. All Japan 7th and ECW in 8th. Interestingly, though, AAA is insignificant. They don't seem to be running any shows anymore. Neither do any of these promotions. So we're now 20th, despite the fact that we are still insignificant. There's clearly a bug either in this version of the game that I'm playing or there's a problem with the mod itself, which causes these promotions to stop running shows at certain points in time. Don't know what that's about. Nevertheless, it doesn't really affect us because we, of course, are the Random Wrestling Review, and we're about to do the Lottery Brawl. And I think it's high time we just progressed to the Lottery Brawl. I've already decided on the 2 wrestlers who will not be taking part in this match, and I'll get to that in a minute. So it's going to be 15-man. Did I put it in as a Royal Rumble? Doesn't look like it, does it? I thought I'd added a new one, but maybe it just didn't retain it. Maybe I didn't save the match type, which will be annoying because I'll have to do it again now. Yeah. So let's just see, man. Hang on. Before we go any further, did I just call it 15-man Royal Rumble? Maybe that's what I did. Yes, I did. 15-man Lottery Brawl. There we go. So the second annual Lottery Brawl. We're going to add Ace Steel, Barry Buchanan, Billy Kidman, Buddy Wayne, so not Bruce Hart, Charlie Haas, CM Punk, C.W. Anderson, Dog, so not Dave Batista, and then the rest of the roster. And that is because Batista's the champion. Bruce Hart is obviously the owner of the company and has kind of removed himself from having the opportunity to win this because it only required 15 wrestlers and he's surplus to requirements. Well, he's not surplus to requirements, but he would have an unfair advantage. So it's the 15-man Lottery Brawl for the Lottery Brawl Championship, I suppose you could call it. I'm going to make this as long as we can. I'm going to go 41 minutes. The winner is going to be the Shadow. We're going to make this an open match with a slow build. Who are the finalists going to be? Which is the big news here. So the runner-up of the match, I think we're going to make. Who do we want runner-up? Sean Stasiak, I think, is a good runner-up. He's been a good, solid hand all the way through. In terms of finalists, we're going to have Buddy Wayne, and we're going to have Ace Steel. I'm going to say that the Iron Man of the match is going to be CM Punk. And most eliminations, I'm going to give to Stasiak as well. So he gets quite a lot out of that one. We've got the slow build on, so that should make it manageable for some. Chemo is extremely unhappy. Yeah, fair enough. Because I haven't got him doing anything. So let's just protect Chemo in this match as well. Still unhappy. Can I also keep him strong? Will that mollify Chemo? It does. So that's our match. We're going to have an angle, which is Dave Batista. Batista thanks the fans for embracing him during his reign, says there is plenty to come. I say there's plenty to come, but we cannot be sure of that, frankly, after what he said or what we saw a news thing, a news article stating that that industry insiders are interested in him. I'm gonna have to make this longer. It's not long enough. So 45 minutes now. We still got to book 12 minutes, which is not ideal because I've got literally nothing to fill the rest of the show with. Is there any local workers I can bring in here? I don't think there is. No, I think we established this already that the Northwest is just not home to many wrestlers, unfortunately. We're gonna have let's have Bruce Hart also cut a promo, explains his explains. Oh, I don't know what I want him to do here really. Bruce Hart welcomes everyone to the show. Says may the best man win. That's quite a long segment just to introduce the show, but that's what we've got. And I think what I'm going to do finally is what am I going to do here? I want to do something where somebody questions who the shadow is. Maybe we can have Batista come out again. And Batista says, whoever the shadow is, he believes he will give him a good fight. That's what we're going to say. It's not the best, but I'm just trying to fill the time. So we've got the 68 minutes that we're required to provide. I'm wondering now whether I close down the Batista Barry Buchanan feud because I've kind of got to the end of it. I might instead just add the shadow to this because I've got some thoughts about what we might do in the future with that. So this can continue. Obviously, these two continue, and this continue for now. Like it doesn't. I don't know how far it's going to go beyond that. And it's named the wrong thing because Batista's not even part of it anymore. But may as well keep it going whilst it's there, and we can get a free kind of thing off of it. We need this needs to be storytelling. That's the other problem. This needs to be a storytelling match, which it now is. So we've got just about enough on there to run the lottery brawl, the second annual lottery brawl. And it opens 81 people. Opens with Bruce Hart welcoming everyone to the show, and he says that tonight we're going to see the second annual Lottery Brawl. It's a major opportunity for all the wrestlers in the Random Wrestling Review because the winner gets 5 points in the rankings. Interestingly enough, I haven't even shown you the rankings, and I've not even prepared it, so I can't do that right now. But ultimately, 5 points is a big deal for whoever wins this match. He says, may the best man win. Segment rating of 31, not bad at all. Bruce Hart enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. Then we have Dave Batista, who comes out, and he was terrible with no script to follow, apparently, but the segment rating was still a 30. And Batista says that he wants to thank the fans. He knows he's not in tonight's main event, so he just wanted to come out and speak to the fans and tell them that he's really thankful for them embracing him over the course of this title reign that he's been on, and he promises them that there is much more to come in the future. Then we get the Lottery Brawl itself, a 35 rated match. Not too bad, I suppose. 44 minutes and 40 seconds this one lasted. The Shadow won it. Final four was Sean Stasiak, Ace Steel, and Buddy Wayne. Sean Stasiak was the final elimination, and he also got the most eliminations over the course of the match. CM Punk set the record for surviving the longest. The Shadow wins the RWR Lottery Brawl, gets 5 points, which puts him now on 10 in total. He leapfrogs Keith Hart, Bruce Hart, and Ace Steel as the new #1 contender to the championship. I really need to change Buddy Wayne's gimmick, which has been the second time I've seen that note. And Keith Hart was off his game, but no real problem there. And then after the match, Dave Bautista comes out and confronts the Shadow. He says that now that the Shadow is #1 contender, he has no idea who he is, but he's paying attention and he's sure that the Shadow will give him a good fight when they come to do battle. A segment rating here of 40, so a really good way to end the show. And this time, Dave Bautista does a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. So where previously he was a bit negative, this time having someone to play off obviously favours Batista. And that's the end of the show. An overall rating of 36, which I believe is the joint best we've ever seen. And that's because all of the ratings on the show were over 30. The final angle, a 40 rated segment, and the main event match, a 35 rated segment. I think we'll give Dave Bautista a compliment. We'll give the Shadow a compliment. I'm just wondering who else I can give a compliment that I don't often give a compliment to. I'll tell you what, we'll give CM Punk a compliment. I know that we did on the last show, I think we gave him a compliment, but we'll do it again here if we did. And that is the Lottery Brawl 1999 in the bag. Yeah, looking forward to what we've got coming up. Something happened on Nitro. Ricky Starr defeated Tex Slazenger of VK Wall Street for the WCW United States title. I mean, some of the names that the top companies are using for these shows is unbelievable. And also, these matches must be lasting such a long time because, or maybe Nitro is only an hour-long show. I wonder if that's what it is. But like, does it say the length of time on these? No, I don't think it does. It'd be good if it says the length of time because I'm just like a bit match time unknown, only available for user book matches. I think they should include the time because I want to know how. I guess if this is an hour-long show, then those matches aren't. Having just 4 matches isn't a problem. But I know from trying to do like a game off air where I tried to be Raw in the present day, I tried to be WWF in the present day, and ran a 3 hour show, and it took me that's on like 25 segments to run the whole show. So yeah, I like to see the AI have to live up to those same time things as well. But maybe they are, maybe Nitro is just an hour long. So we are now on the road to our next show. We'll progress to the end of the current month. Just a little bit of a pause, I guess, and a chance for me to say thank you for watching today, and please give me a like, a subscribe. It's always really appreciated. The feedback's really appreciated. Thank you so much, and yeah, really enjoying continuing to do this series. Now, one of the things I've been thinking about, we're making enough money now per month that we could run 2 shows per month, but I'm really concerned. I want to make sure that those shows aren't just like more of the same. I kind of want to do something specific with those additional shows, at least at some of the time. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm trying to strive for 2 shows a month now going forward, because I think also in terms of the time scale, like the company, obviously in terms of real time, in terms of real lifetime, it'll take as long as it would take whether I did a show every month or not, because you know I'd still have the only thing that would happen is that the time. What am I trying to say here? The time scale in the game will slow down, but my popularity will rise just as fast in real time if I do 2 shows per month. But I think in reality, in the game time, the company would want to grow faster. And I think we can do that now because we've got the finances for it. That's about as clear as I can make it. So what we're going to try and do, we're actually going to run 2 shows in May. And as I said, we're going to try and run 2 shows every month from now. And obviously we're already fine with August because we have the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza that we run, which is over 2 nights. But yeah, I want to kind of I want to yeah, I want to do 2 shows per month now. So looking at WCW Spring Stampede, a really poor show. Hugh Morris defeated Sting to retain the WCW World Heavyweight Title, and I think the first indication that putting the world title on Hugh Morris was a mistake. A 73 rated match here. Obviously, he had a great match against Ric Flair, but then everyone does in the game. Flair is brilliant according to the game. Although his match with Brian Pillman also didn't hit the heights that it previously has done. Only an 88 rated match, and maybe that's a suggestion that Flair himself is also starting to kind of level off in terms of his level of performance. But yeah, Hugh Morris is WCW World Champion. I still can't get over that, and it's been a couple of episodes now since we've been aware of it. So let's just have a quick look at size. We are now 11. We're now 11 for in the Northwest, so that's really good. Still got a way to go to achieve tiny size, but as I say, in game time, we might actually get there a little bit quicker now that now that we've done what we've done in terms of going for 2 shows a month. And I've got to set up the next event, which we're in May, right? So I'm at that point where I need to come up with a play on the word May. Well, I already have something in mind for this year because in late March of '99, a film came out called The Matrix, and that is what we are calling our show here in May of '99, The Matrix, but obviously with the May tricks spelt with MAY. Not particularly clever, but it just felt like it was all right to do because we've got that kind of yeah, we're in that period of time. What we're going to do this time, Monday week 2 is going to be our first show this month, and so it's not going to be very far away at all. Wrestling companies have always based the names of their shows on films, going back to the AWA Star Wars shows and goodness knows what else. So I don't have a problem with that at all. Let's look at the top 100, see if we've. So the Lottery Brawl was actually the best show we've ever done, which is really big. And the Lottery Brawl itself was the 6th best match we've ever put on. So that was a good show. It was a really good show. And the Lottery Brawl has a current prestige of 35, which I think is the highest of all of our titles. It is indeed. Obviously, Roddy Piper won it last year as well, so that was a big boost to it. So let's move on to this Matrix show. And I've already got a whole show of stuff planned out for this already. This was one first time for a long time, probably first time ever actually in this save where I have predetermined the next show after the one I'm covering. I've been trying desperately not to plan too far ahead, but I felt like given that we only had one match and it was a battle royal effectively on the last show, I needed to for this event I needed to have a card planned. So I have got one, and it will be headlined by Dave Bautista versus The Shadow for the title, following The Shadow's victory in the Lottery Brawl, and the fact that now that gives him 5 points, which puts him up to 10 in total, meaning he is definitely the number one contender. For this show, so that's what we're going to do. We're also going to have the tag team titles on the line. The Hart Brothers will face the Samoan Violence Connection. Those two teams, of course, have been in a feud for some time. We got one or two other things as well that we will show you in just a moment. Just checking that there's nothing major. WrestlePalooza 99 for ECW. Let's have a look. Sandman defeated Bobby Fulton to retain the World Heavyweight title. New Jack and Bubba Ray Dudley defeated El Bronco 1 and Shane Douglas. Both decent matches, in fairness. Steve Corino defeated Terry Funk to retain the World Television title. So ECW got a decent roster by the looks of things. So all good there. We are now into our first show of the month, The Matrix. Thankfully, I'm going to give myself a break in terms of having to come up with some kind of pun for the second May show this month. It won't need to contain the word May. So what am I going to do here? So I'm going to start with a tag team match for this one. And it's going to be Dog and Rose against Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson. I think 9 minutes, eight. Let's do 8 minutes. That's fine. And of course, this is the newly babyface C.W. Anderson alongside Charlie Haas, and the idea here will now be that they are on the same page, and they get a big victory over the former tag team champions in the opener. And of course, this is part of my continuing to effectively work Bad Crew out of the company. I think we'll retain them up to and including the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, but I think after that they will be done. I don't really see them being retained beyond that point. After this, we have a bit of a squash as Barry Buchanan takes on Billy Kidman. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. I wanted to explain this, didn't I? So I put Billy Kidman in the Battle Royal, and I didn't explain his presence there, and he shouldn't really have stayed with the company because, as we had, like his match with CM Punk was a contract match where the winner got a contract. We're gonna have Barry Buchanan win in a decisive manner, a pinfall finish as well. But I am gonna do something else, which is to say that Bruce Hart is going to come out here and explain why Billy Kidman is still around. Explains that Buddy Wayne liked what he saw in Kidman and sponsored him to get another chance. Uh, says, trying to just create some more space so I can finish the sentence. And let's get another chance. There we go. Don't need to be long. So that's the explanation for why Billy Kidman has been brought back. I'll just have to paper over the fact that I did not explain that ahead of the battle royal, which is when I really should have done. But anyway, that's the explanation. Is that basically Buddy Wayne has gone to Bruce Hart and said, "Look, I think I think the kid's got something. You know, keep him around." Then we're going to get CM Punk in his second match, this time against Kid Chaos. Of course, we're going to give the win to Punk. Make this 9 minutes. And we're going to have him win by submission as well. I there's an old school way of thinking that submissions it used to be around, certainly in the late 70s and early 80s. There used to be this thing. I don't think it really exists now, and I don't think people are even aware of it. But there used to be this thing that only heels got submission victories, like as if being a babyface and making someone submit was kind of a little bit too brutal, a little bit too ruthless for a babyface to do. So I quite like that idea. But anyway, Punk's a heel, so it's not a big deal. I just thought I'd slip that in there as an extra little bit of information or a little nugget of whatever. So then we get Ace Steel versus Buddy Wayne in the next match. This one's going to go a bit longer, and I'm going to have Ace Steel win it again, tainted, but Ace Steel wins another match. Then after the match, Ace Steel is going to brag that is he will be #1 contender with this win, and will be watching later. Now, actually, I'm tempted to change a little bit of something here, so I'm going to do that. But I might just put the tag team match before that one, because actually that's not technically true. If the Hart family, if Keith and Bruce have got the same wins as, I'm happy. I'm happy. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to me. That's not important. What I was about to say. Bruce and Keith Hart then will face ECMO and Chemo. This is the continuation of the feud between these two tag teams. We'll make it 10 minutes. And in this one, Chemo is going to win and pin. Yeah, let's have him pin Bruce Hart. So we got new tag team champions here. I never intended. Yeah, maybe if I move it down to 9, does it change? No. Okay, we'll keep it at 10 then. I never intended for the Hart brothers to hold these belts for long. But yeah, it just felt like a good idea given that these two teams were in this feud. It felt like we could get to a decent, important match between the two. And then we've got the Northwest title on the line as Dave Batista faces the Shadow. Now, which way am I going to go with this? Which way am I going to go with this match? Well, we're first of all going to make it 14 minutes, and the Shadow is going to win, but he's not going to win the title because he's going to win by countout. Uh, like that. It's going to be open match. I think we'll go with the storytelling aspect to this one as well. Actually, no, we won't. We'll go with storytelling for that one. No, didn't we have the storytelling already covered by this one? No, but let's do this one anyway. um, yeah, so Batista will lose the match, but by count out. Actually, I've got to make sure that this is marked as a cheap win because the title doesn't change hands on that one. Uh, Actually, I am gonna take this match down. So I'm gonna make this in the middle of the show. The reason is that again, logically, I need to make sure the timeline works. So first of all, Ace still bragging that he'd be number one contender with the win against Buddy Wayne doesn't make sense because the Hart brothers still would be in a match with the Samoan Violence Connection. They also have 7 wins at the moment, and if they beat the Samoan Violence Connection, they would have 8. So Ace still wouldn't be able to brag about it yet. But the Hart brothers losing before his match would then give Ace Steel the chance to become number one contender with a victory. And when he gets the win, he can then brag about it. The other thing is, I want Bruce Hart to be out there again in front of the crowd because I want him to explain what the hell is going on with this match. So, what's going to happen is that Bruce Hart is going to come out and announces that the main event, that another show announces another show for May with a 3-way main event. And I'll discuss that in a minute, but you can tell it's going to be between Dave Batista, the Shadow, and Ace Steel. But I'll talk about that in the actual show as we do it. But that's basically setting up the next show. Sean Stasiak is not appearing on this show. That's okay. Now, what I want to do, just check the storylines before we go into this show. I think we'll end this one. Going to continue. Dave Batista and Mary Buchanan. So this is now the world title picture. And we're going to add Ace Steel to this. We've never added Chemo, which is interesting, but that's fine. Doesn't matter to that one. Is there any other feud stories that I'm doing at the moment that I need to add another story for it? No, I don't think so. Okay, so let's do this show. I think we're going to run over time today. Maybe that's a new feature of the show. I don't know, as we do 2 events a month, or maybe this is just a one-off. But let's go into the show. Just double check again that we're fine there. We don't have any matches storytelling. I'm sure I changed one of them to storytelling. Let's do it this one and just make sure this time it works. Okay, so we're good. Okay, so in front of 83 people, we have The Matrix and Red Alert defeat Bad Crew in the first match of the night, 8 minutes 17 seconds. C.W. Anderson pins Dog. Both teams are about the same in terms of the performances. This is as good as Bad Crew have been, actually, I think, in terms of a match. So, maybe I'm rethinking their status in the company. I don't know, but a segment rating of 28, a decent way to start the show. And then we have before the next match, we have Bruce Hart come out and say that Billy Kidman, who was in a match to get a contract 2 months ago, has been brought back because Buddy Wayne has sponsored him to give him another chance. And so basically, this was the explanation for why Billy Kidman's been given another chance. Bruce Hart enjoyed the freedom to go off script and perform well, but it still only gave us a segment rating of 16, so not particularly good. Barry Buchanan then faces Billy Kidman in a reasonably easy victory for Buchanan, although it did take 7 minutes and 2 seconds, and Billy Kidman gets some credit for how much punishment he took during the match. Barry Buchanan gets a 31 in-ring performance, Billy Kidman just an 18, although that's better than the first appearance that he had. A segment rating here of 27. Barry Buchanan picks up the victory. Then CM Punk versus Kid Chaos. CM Punk's second match in the Random Wrestling Review, and 9 minutes and 8 seconds, wins by submission. And he gets an in-ring performance of 32, Kid Chaos in 19, and the segment rating is 30. So a really good match here for CM Punk's second singles contest. Then it's the tag team title match, the Hart Brothers versus the Samoan Violence Connection. And in 9 minutes, 48 seconds, Chemo and ECMO become the new tag team champions when Chemo pins Bruce with a Samoan drop. A segment rating of 35, so a really good match. That is almost entirely down to Chemo, who had an in-ring performance of 44, so he's looking really good. ECMO 28. Keith and Bruce Hart have been liberated from those tag team titles, 24 and 22. Their in-ring performance is not great. Bruce Hart was off his game and visibly tiring, so in general, that was always going to be difficult, and yet still got a segment rating of 35, so I've got to be happy with that. Next up, we have Ace Steel versus Buddy Wayne, and Ace Steel won in 12 minutes 37 seconds by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. A segment rating here of 34. Buddy Wayne again at 32. He's performing much better at the moment. I think he's really enjoying having Pat Patterson as our road agent, who is obviously much better at it than Bruce and Keith Hart. And Ace Steel, an in-ring performance of 28. And with this victory, Ace Steel believes he is the new #1 contender. He says that having won this match and having seen the Hart brothers lose earlier tonight, no matter who wins the main event out of Dave Bautista and the Shadow in the next match, in the night's main event, he will be the #1 contender, and he will be watching on, very interested to see who it will be that he will challenge for that belt at the next show. Segment rating here 33, despite Ace Steel struggling when going off script. Then we have the main event, a 40 rated match. So the Shadow and Dave Bautista are really good in terms of their interaction. The Shadow had an in-ring performance of 40. He is looking superb at the moment. Dave Bautista at 29. This one went 14 minutes and 8 seconds, but the Shadow won by count out. Dave Bautista getting knocked down. I think the story is going to be that he gets clotheslined by the Shadow outside the ring and hits the back of his head on the guardrail. Cannot answer a 10 count. And so the Shadow's declared the victor, but not the champion. So afterwards, this brings out Bruce Hart, who says that who's sort of still in a state of not fully dressed and ready after his match earlier in the night. But he comes out and says that this is the first time that the Random Wrestling Review has faced this situation. The ranking system is quite clear. When you lose a title match, you lose your points. But the point is you can't lose the title on a count out. So effectively, they've never thought about this scenario playing out before. So they've made a very quick judgment about this and decided that the Shadow, despite not winning the title, will not lose his points. He will remain on 10 points. And effectively will remain the top contender for the title. However, he recognizes that Ace Steel must have felt like he was going to be the #1 contender following his victory earlier in the night, and so determines that Dave Bautista at the next event will face both the Shadow and Ace Steel in a triple threat match, a 3-way match, and that will be the match for the title next month. Segment rating here of 28. Not the best way to end the show. Not terrible, though. Much better than Bruce Hart's earlier performance. Obviously, he had the boost of talking about 3 wrestlers that are actually over. And that's how we end the show, with this bombshell announcement where the company has had to react to a scenario it hadn't planned for, which is ultimately what happens when in the Northwest title match, the champion loses but doesn't lose the belt, because obviously what should happen is one of them should lose all their points and drop to the bottom, but you can't do that to the Shadow. He didn't lose the match, and so that's the solution. And that's how we're ending today's episode as well as this show, a segment rating, overall rating of 37, I should say, not segment rating, the best show we've ever put on. And that is thanks almost entirely to the brilliant match between The Shadow and Dave Bautista. Brilliant stuff. Ace Steel and Buddy Williams was also a good match. So was the tag team match. So was CM Punk versus Kid Chaos. Just great stuff all the way through, and sets up our next show really, really well. I think we have to give The Shadow praise for a great performance. I think Chemo is in the same boat. He was very, very good. And then I think, who else am I going to praise here? I think we'll go with CM Punk again. So that is the speech that ends the show, and that is the episode today. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again pretty soon. Until then, we'll catch you when we see you next.